If you want to succeed, you got to have a formula. This is NxBizSuccess. My name is Lynn Hinderocker, and I'm talking to a guy who's got a small business success formula that's going to enable you to go from idea to reality. I'm happy to introduce you to Garrett Anderson. He owns Anderson Print Group in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep.
And I'm happy to have you in the NxBizSuccess.
You bet.
And I'm eager to hear the formula. You've been a very successful entrepreneur, and I want to know how we can all follow in your footsteps, Garrett.
Oh boy, I tell you, they're not very big ones.
Tell us a little bit, how does somebody, when you go forward and you think about starting a business, is there any, I mean, everything's different, of course, but what kind of a formula or thing should I keep in my mind every day when I get out of bed?
Well, it usually starts with passion. You got to find something that you want to do.
Right.
And that's the bedrock of the whole thing. I mean, if you're getting up, not going and doing something you enjoy, do something else.
And Garrett, let me just mention briefly, we're in a printing plant.
Right.
We're in the back of Anderson Print Company. Yep. Right? You got all these pallets around here and paper supplies. Yep. We hear the printers and the web press in the background. Yep. Did you wake up one day and say, I have a passion for printing, I want to be in the biz?
No, I didn't, but, but as I got into it, I realized I was enjoying myself. And every day I get up, there's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I get to interact with people like you, like customers, networks.
Sure.
So, you know, every day I have a passion for what I'm working on.
Good.
So.
Well, you know, you shared with me before, let's pretend we got somebody here who really wants to learn everything you've accumulated in your numerous years. What kind of a simple formula can we give them, all right, so they can remember it every day?
Right. Well, in the current environment, everybody's talking about money and cash and down economy. And cash really is the king when you get into business for yourself.
Yeah, liquidity.
Exactly. You got to have money in the bank to make payroll, to pay your vendors, to have capital to invest with. So cash could mean what people think of in true hard greenbacks.
Yeah, monetary value, yeah.
But I think of it more of as an acronym. So I use those 4 letters, and it kind of gives a framework for business itself.
To remind you.
Exactly.
All right, so tell me what C begins.
C is capital.
Okay.
We talked about that a little bit, but it could be intellectual capital. Say you're working for someone else. You get this concept, I can do it better than the boss is doing it, do it differently. That's your intellect. Yeah. Okay, you need intellectual capital, you need hard capital, you need cash, you need money, all forms of capital.
Right.
Next one, the A, you absolutely have to have the right attitude.
All right, this goes back to the passion thing you mentioned at the beginning of our dialogue. Yeah. What can you tell us more about? Attitude is everything. We've already read the books and all that good stuff, but really, can you lend some extra insight on attitude? You know, we all have our down days and realistic, pragmatic, optimistic. I mean, what?
I think it's an attitude that really has to be flexible. You're going to run into all kinds of roadblocks. I run into roadblocks every day.
You still do?
And if you're not tough enough to gut it out, you've got to have the attitude to do that. There are going to be horrible days. There are going to be days 2, 3, 4 in a row where you want to throw in the towel. Yeah. But then the 5th day, you realize this is why I'm doing this. Something great happened.
Do you still have days where you actually rethink your entire
Absolutely,
career?
Absolutely,
really
yeah. And I think that's the key to entrepreneurialism, is being able to gut it out, checking where you are, having the right attitude. And it could be a happy attitude, it could be a positive attitude, it can be the serious attitude where you have to terminate an employee because that employee's employment with you is wrong. It's wrong for him, it's wrong for you, the company, they're not growing.
And you mentioned something to me, you said the attitude has to fit the culture and has to fit the situation that you're in. Yep. And yet you don't want to go too far one way or the other. Right? You got to be predictable. Your customers and your employees have to know that Garrett's going to show up every day. He's not going to fall apart on me. He's the boss, right?
Yeah, exactly. You've got to fit the part too.
Yeah.
I mean, and the attitude also can help you in situations where you're not really good at. You may not be a people person, but you got to work with the customer. You may not be a numbers person, but payroll has to get done.
All right, so we've said cash, CA, now we're on to S.
Yeah, S, absolutely. You have to have solutions for your customer.
This may be the most important one of them all.
It might be, yeah. If you're thinking about getting into business, what are you solving? You know, if there's 100 other people doing that, why are you going to be in the 101st one? Why is someone going to come to you? Is it different or what?
This is such an important point. I oftentimes will talk to people that are small business and they complain they don't have enough business, not enough clients and so on. They like to talk about their products and their features and how good they are. I keep asking them, what about the problem you're solving? And they don't seem to have great insight into the problem. So therefore their solution doesn't really resonate with the customer. It's an interesting thing. And then we're on to H. What would H be?
H, you got to have help. I don't think anybody can do anything alone in life. And help is, you know, that's expansive as well. So it could be a network that you're involved in. Lean on that network. It could be a mentor. but there's lots of solutions out there. Could be the Small Business Administration,
Yeah.
but seek out help. Don't try to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Even if it's getting counseling.
I know, Garrett, that you're a great networker in the community here. You're a member of the chamber,
Right.
member of some other professional groups. Which of those has been most helpful to you? How do you extract value so that you can go back and say, well, I spent my time productively. I went to a networking meeting while everybody else is back here printing brochures.
Right.
How do you know when you've actually done something productive as the owner of a company?
Yeah, you know, and that's a challenge too.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, you can go to a chamber event and be there to gain sales, but
Yeah.
that might be the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Networking is different than selling and marketing.
Yeah.
You know, they're three unique things.
Yeah.
So it's hard to gauge how successful you were, but you know, when I go to a chamber event, I'm looking at establishing relationships, and it's sometimes very intangible and hard to quantify, but I think our chamber membership has been awesome.
Yes, it has.
You know, another good network I've been in is, it started out as Young Entrepreneurs Organization of Nebraska. Now it's EO. It went from YEO to EO. And that was a group of peers that got together monthly and really talked about what we're talking about. Business nitty-gritty. How would you handle this situation in this situation? And those are invaluable. You know, they're tips groups, there are all kinds of different networks.
Right. I think the hard part for people like you and me is that we wonder, should I leave the office or should I leave the job or the project and actually go spend an hour and a half at a networking? What's the truly responsible thing to do?
I read the E-Myth and do what he says.
Is that
Michael
it?
Gerber.
Yeah.
Yep, read the E-Myth and he's going to say, establish the systems within your business that free you from being the production guy or the engineer working in the business, work on the business, and that's leaving the office if you have to.
Indeed. Well, Garrett Anderson with Anderson Print Group in Omaha, Nebraska, you've been very insightful. I love the formula, man, because we hear all this advice, but sometimes it never sifts itself down to 3 or 4 concrete steps.
Right.
Sometimes you take that simplicity that really helps you get going every single day. NxBizSuccess talks to people like Garrett Anderson all over the country. Right here in Omaha, Nebraska, we have a great example, a formula, a simple rule of thumb, a way to keep it together as you keep going and you keep growing. We'll see you next time on NxBizSuccess.